I love South Africa. I love the fact that we're so schizophrenic. We go from, our politicians are jokes to, oh, do you remember Nelson Mandela? He was so sweet, so nice, so amazing. So look at this month. We started off in February with Nelson Mandela. We are remembering the fact that 25 years ago, he walked out of Victor Verster prison, and we were all, wow, it's fantastic. Or some people were saying, oh, it's terrible, and so forth. But we felt all nice and warm. And a few weeks later, we had the State of the Nation speech, and it was, oh dear, here we go again. The EFF and other political parties were doing things, being kicked out, being manhandled. It was, whoa, what's going on now? So we went from, oh, you remember those fantastic days to, oh, it's this, and it's like that, and it's like that. And of course, we came home. Some of you didn't see the State of the Nation speech, I presume, because we had load shedding, which is something that we have every day now. And it's a reality of our situation. So when all these things, whether it's the politics, whether it's the infrastructure, ESCOM, all that, all of them have an impact. All of you come from your businesses, and all of you sit there saying, what's going on with this country? What's going to happen to me? And a lot of people start saying, oh, it's depressing. I better start thinking about my options and so forth. And the people in your workplaces, the people in your offices are thinking the same. Your executives are saying, what's my strategy when I have all this facing me? What I do in some of the talks that I give is to try and give some context and say, this is what South Africa looks like now, this is what it looked like 20 years ago, this is what it will look like in 5, 10, 15, in 20 years. I know a lot of you sit there and you hear a lot about that nice house in KwaZulu-Natal that you paid for, thank you very much. I try to bring context to the debates around Nkandla, the debates around our politics, around our politicians, and say, what next? How do you navigate your way out of this? And in many ways, a lot of times we listen to the talk about Nkandla, and it's all about, ooh, it's terrible, it's so forth and so forth. My view is that a lot of what you see and what our politicians do is just noise. And you should, if that's what you're following, just relax. A lot of it is meaningless. But there is some that is meaningful. The institutions are meaningful. If the institutions are changing, then there's a big problem. But what I do in my talks is try and say, keep calm, carry on. A lot of this is just politicians fighting to get your vote in next year's election, in the election that has just gone past, and in elections that are coming in the future. I see many of you don't believe me here, so here's my advice for you. Just saying, I'm not saying I'm an expert on everything. What is it that will have an impact on those businesses, on your business over the next few months, over the next few years? What is the ANC going to do? What is the impact of the EFF on ANC policies? My view is that there'll be a whole range of policies that are coming through that people in business need to be aware of. I was born in Johannesburg, by the way, and I think my parents were kicked off from Sandton, so I could put in a land claim on this building. I could. Anyway, my view is this. Land will be a big issue. The rest of the continent is going to be a big issue. Whether it's Angola, the DRC, people are making huge amounts of cash there. What's the future of South Africa in its relationship with the continent? What about China? You look around us here, you have the Bank of China, you have the Construction Bank of China just down the road. China is a big player in South Africa and South African politics. What's going to happen in the future? What's going to happen with service delivery protests? Are we going to see more, and so forth and so forth? These are some of the things that I touch on. I also try to say, you know what? We always say it's the end of the world in South Africa. Is it the end of the world? 25 years ago, a lot of people, when Nelson Mandela walked out of jail, they said, oh, that communist is out. It's the end of the world. Let's buy some canned food and put it under the floor. 25 years later, we're still here. When Trevor Manuel read out his first budget in 1996, people said this country is going down the drain. Ask them in 2006, when the South African economy was growing at 6%, they'd have said, oh, clone him, he's fantastic. Who would have thought the Springboks would win the Rugby World Cup in 1995? People said it's the end of the world when they won, but no, it wasn't the end of the world. South African women thought it was the end of the world when they saw that. Was it the end of the world? No. So, you know, there's a sense that it's the end of the world all the time in South Africa. It's not always the end of the world. I have hope for South Africa, and I believe South Africa will work. And it's people like Thuli Madonsela who make me believe that. Thank you very much.